Today's episode is brought to you by Forvis Mazars.
SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. John Di Natale has done so many things in his life. He's an author, a mentor, a wealth management advisor, and a keynote speaker. At one time, he even worked in radio, though that wasn't what his parents had in mind when he was growing up. No, they wanted only the best for him. A secure life in one of the big professions. Think doctor, lawyer, accountant. Did he follow their wishes? No. John chose early to break free from the expectations of others, to go his own way. It's been quite a journey, he admits, and it hasn't been easy. It was the topic of a TED Talk by John, where he asked a fundamental question of all of us. What do we want to be known for? Serious stuff, Heather Dawson suggests. So what does John really think about all of these expectations dictating our lives? Well, it's complicated.
I think expectations set the way that we think about situations, and it happens subconsciously. And there are so many expectations, not just that others put on us, but also the ones that we place upon ourselves. And that's why it's so important to understand how they affect us, how they affect our thinking and our decision-making.
Okay, well, your dream when you were a young lad was to be on the radio, John, and you even used to practice, I understand, when you were young back at the farm where you grew up. How did that go for you?
The practice.
Did it get you into radio?
Well, eventually it did. When you grow up on a farm and in an Italian migrant family, a career in radio is probably not high on the agenda, right? I mean, my parents had very clear expectations of what my life would look like. I would study hard, go to university, get a good job as a doctor, lawyer, accountant, right? one of those, basically. And I had this dream of working in radio, so I decided that I'd go and do some research. So I went to the font of all knowledge, the Yellow Pages, right, at the time, and found that there were radio schools where you could actually go and learn this skill. And so I went and did that, and eventually ended up getting a job in radio. So in Victoria at the time, I think there were 26 radio stations at the time in the state of Victoria, and I had a schedule. So each day of the month I would ring a particular radio station, right? And I did that for months. I send out my demo tapes and get rejected, and I'd call up and say, hey, did you get my tape? And they'd say, yes, we haven't got a job for you. And eventually one of the program managers cottoned on that I was calling him on the 5th of every month. He's like, you again, It's like, you're calling me again on the 5th. And I kept calling, and I called him one day and he said, I've been expecting your call, you better come and see us. And so that's how I ended up on radio for a few years. And so, whilst the expectation was that my life would be in a particular way, the path of least resistance would have been to do what was expected of me. And as it turned out, I did go to university and did get a degree. I didn't become a doctor, lawyer or accountant. My mother still tells me that I should be a lawyer or a politician. Clearly she's lowered her expectations, right?
But expectations of others, often the family, they're very hard to escape from, aren't they?
Well, yes and no. I think unless we consciously put our expectations on the table and assess them, we really don't have an opportunity to escape from them. And I think that's the biggest issue, is that people don't often stop and say, what expectations are driving the way that I'm living my life? What are the things that I'm expecting of myself? What are the expectations of others that I'm allowing to have me act in a certain way or make certain decisions? And so I think the lead up to that decision can be quite difficult. I think once you make the decision to go, I'm going to live my life based on what I want for myself and what my expectations are, the lead up can take years or decades. Making the decision takes an instant, right?
Well, you, John, I see you as a good example of someone who's successfully broken free of expectations, certainly the expectations that comes from your background. You seem to be refusing to tie down to any single career or occupation in your life. Has it been easy?
No, not at all. Any time that you are fighting against a set of expectations, it can be quite difficult. I've certainly had my moments and my clashes along the way with all sorts of people who say, well, this is not what you should be doing, this is not what your priority should be. And then, you question yourself, because you take on so many expectations from other people that become yours in effect. And even then you're kind of fighting against yourself. You're saying, well, I should want this. Maybe in my life this is what I should want, and why am I over here wanting something entirely different? So it's not easy. It's a battle kind of within yourself to say, I want to live a particular kind of life, and if for that to happen, I may need to get rid of some of the expectations that are not serving me and maybe bring some new ones on board that do. It's more about an alignment between your expectations and your values and your goals in life. And if you can get those to line up, then we have something really powerful.
Are you doing what you want to be known for now?
Yes, I'm happy to say. Yeah, absolutely. But that's a process. You're constantly refining and redefining, what it is that you want to be known for. So that's a process. But I'm doing it much more consciously now than I was years ago.
As a speaker?
Absolutely.
So your question to us all now is, what do we want to be known for?
Yes.
Why is it such an important question for us all?
Well, it's kind of like the beacon that guides you, right? If you can be clear on that question, if you can have clarity on what it is that you want to be known for. So what is the one thing that you want to be known for? If you have clarity on that, it makes it so much easier then to see which expectations you are taking along on the ride that are working for you and which ones are not. So if you have that clarity, you can say, these expectations serve me, these do not, right? And ultimately, I think we all want to be known for something. What's the thing that you value the highest? What's the thing that's highest in your list of life priorities? And if we can identify that, it makes it so much easier to align everything else and go and get after that.
Well, for all of us with so many commitments, I guess, expectations tying us down, is there a starting point, would you say, to bring about change?
Oh, absolutely. Sit yourself down in front of the mirror, have a long, hard look, and ask yourself that question. What is it that I want to be known for? What is my ultimate goal in life, and what's my contribution that I want to make? And I think if you get clear on that, take the first step. You don't have to have it all sorted on day one, but if you get clear on that vision of what that looks like for you, just take the first step.
That was John Di Natale, keynote speaker and many other things besides. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Forvis Mazars. To find out more, visit forvismazars.com/au. That's FORVISMAZARS.com/au.